Algorators, welcome back. Welcome back to Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. I'm coming to you live from Vicenza, Italy. That's right, Vicenza, Italy. Let's see who's joining us tonight in the chat. We have Pisces Unicorn. Welcome back. Welcome back, Pisces Unicorn. Haven't seen you in a while. Where you've been hiding? We have SL Warrior. Always good to see you, SL Warrior. Hello, hello. Tanya McNeil, welcome back. Welcome back. Brenda K, you know Brenda K, a show ain't a show without you signed in. I am her 423. Welcome back. Welcome back to Celebrity Court. Good Tar Diva RBA. Welcome back. So good to have you here. It says buckle up. Doreen Pierce. Oh, is that a new legal beagle? I mean, is that a new algorator? Doreen Pierce, we love having you though. Hey, Al, and all the legal beagles. Colette Davis, that's our realtor from DC. Welcome back. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Rizland 11, where have you been? I haven't seen you in a while, but I enjoyed the fact that you're here today. Tracy Odom, welcome back. Welcome back to Celebrity Court. And Lady Chanel 95, thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Tonight's episode is Beauty Queens, Bank Freezes, and Blogger Consequences. Come on now, court is now in order because tonight the Court of Public Opinion is taking the tiaras. It's talking about sex trafficking. We're seeing a tell-all and hearing about it. And guess what? All the other tea in tonight's cases. All right, first up, the pageant world is on fire. That's right. You heard it right here. It's on fire because Miss Universe winner Fatima Bosch is being threatened with a criminal complaint after a heated confrontation with a rival pageant president. Baby, this isn't world peace like pageants are supposed to be. This looks like World War IV. All right, then we jump to the other side of the Miss Universe scandal where co-owner Raúl Rocha just had his bank accounts frozen by Mexican authorities in a probe involving drugs, weapons, and fuel trafficking. Oh my goodness, fuel trafficking. All right. Miss Universe said confident, poised, and excellent. But the bank account is, quote, in what her terms were, frozen. Next, the courtroom mess that won't die. Yep, you know it has something to do with P. Diddy. But on this front, it's Cassie. Cassie is reportedly evading service in a sex trafficking lawsuit filed by Clayton Howard. Yeah, you remember Clayton Howard that hired help for 8 years. And a judge has now approved the unconventional service because he said he can find another way. Ooh, baby, that just got dark for Cassie and her newfound $30 million. And finally, rapper Erica Banks was arrested on felony drug distribution. What? Yes, you heard me right. Drug distribution charges during a traffic stop. When the police say step out of the vehicle, in this case, they are not asking her to freestyle. All right, I'm not just your judge tonight. As you know, I'm your instigator, your cross-examiner, and your cultural accountability coach all in one. This is Celebrity Court, and court is now in session. And joining us tonight, we have the lovely civil attorney, Shatan Turner, and humorist at law, Sean Carter. Attorneys, welcome back to Celebrity Court. How are we feeling tonight? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Sorry about that. We weren't here on Tuesday, and I'm a little bit rusty, but I'll get it back together, algorators. Yeah, but I am feeling good. Not as good as you are since you're in Italy, but feeling groovy nonetheless.
You're looking good, Shatan. What is that? Is that a singles ladies glow you got going on tonight?
I do have a little bit of a glow. Somebody's making me smile.
And Sean Carter, how are you feeling tonight?
I just hope it ain't the Michigan football coach. But anyway, we're going to just go ahead and leave that alone. Let you keep your business as it is.
He's got love for everybody.
Oh, my God. That was just a horrible turn of events with him, wasn't it? Can't wait to cover that probably on next Tuesday on Algorithm, and you don't want to miss it. All right, everybody. Case number one is Nawat versus Miss Universe. Yes, the Miss Universe winner, Fatima Bosch. This is a criminal complaint versus crowns colliding. All right, Miss Grand International President Nawat says he has filed a criminal complaint in the Thailand against reigning Miss Universe 2025 Fatima Bosch after their viral confrontation where he accused her of disrespecting him as well as the pageant system and the MGI brand. Child, the beauty queens are fighting for real. He claims that Bosch insulted him. He also claims she called public humiliation, and she, last but not least, violated the Thai criminal code regarding defamation, insulting behavior, and causing reputational harm in public. Bailiff, take it away.
The beauty pageant industry after walking out of a Miss Universe event when a pageant exec called her dumb and asked security to remove her. A live-streamed pre-sash ceremony event in Thailand on November 4th took an unexpected turn when Thai Miss Universe director Nawat Itzaragrisil insulted Boch while speaking about contestants' duties. After Itzaragrisil reprimanded Boch for missing a sponsor shoot earlier in the day, she explained that she didn't go to the unrequired event per instructions from the Miss Universe Mexico organization. Itzaragrisil then chastised her, calling her dumb and accusing her of disobedience when she stood up for herself, and asked for security to remove her.
It's not my fault that you have problems with my organization.
No. Security.
Following the incident, over a dozen of her fellow contestants walked out in solidarity with Boch, including the current Miss Universe Victoria Kjær of Denmark, who said this is about women's rights and that tearing down another woman is beyond disrespectful. After walking out, Boch took a moment to address the media and denounce Itzaragrisil's mistreatment.
We are empowered women, and this is a platform for our voice. No one can shut.
All right, let's go to you, Attorney Carter, first. This is what I need to know. I need to know, what law is this? Under what Thai criminal law are these charges exactly? And could they realistically come from a public confrontation like this just because you had a little spat in a meeting? And then he's also added defamation, insult, and reputational harm. Is that only in Thailand? And how exactly is this being filed?
Yeah. So Thailand is out here. They're doing law a little different. They have a penal code section 326 through 328, because I know you guys want to look it up. But it basically makes it a crime to say something that harms someone's reputation. Now, remember, in America, that's all we do. That's what the internet is for. All right. But not in Thailand. All right. You out there dragging people, they can drag you back to court. All right. On criminal charges, not just civil. We see defamation cases all the time. They have criminal defamation. They also have one that says insulting behavior. So basically, it says that if you publicly insult them in some way, in a way that embarrasses them, all right, causes them some kind of hurt, getting a little butt hurt, then you know what? That's a criminal offense. And there's reputational harm. So if you ruin somebody's reputation, right, then you can go to jail, not just civil court. Now, the thing is interesting is Nawat here, who, by the way, started the whole thing. He invites them to some ceremony before the Miss Universe pageant and basically calls her out personally. Says, you know what, you've been disrespectful. You didn't post us on the gram. That was one of his problems. You didn't post me. He acted like a jealous boyfriend. And the fact that you missed a meeting and then calls her dumb and all that, she gets up and walks out, etc. And he says, because you didn't apologize, because when he called her on it, she said she basically pulled a Hamilton on him. She was like, look, I can't apologize for what I did. All right. I'm on your obedient servant. But still, I'm not sorry. Sorry, I'm not sorry. And that's what he's saying. It should be a criminal offense. Now, even if you lived in Thailand, you're probably going to need more than that. But certainly a foreign person there who's a dignitary there on a special mission, in this case, to become Miss Universe. Because here's the thing that I find amazing about this, maybe the great victory for her. She was only Miss Mexico when this confrontation happened. A few days later, she goes to the pageant, and the people in Taiwan, the judges there, name her Miss Universe. That's how much they decide, right? That they named her Miss Universe despite this.
Wow. Shaitan, let me ask you this. So that's Thailand's criminal code, right? But she's not a citizen of Thailand. She's just there participating in a pageant. So does that weigh in and actually how the prosecutor's defamation criminal case will develop or not develop?
So one of my mom's favorite movies, it's an old movie, it's called Midnight Express. And she used to always tell me what happened to these. Sean Carter knows this movie because what happened is these Americans went down to Mexico and they tried to smuggle drugs and they got in all kinds of trouble. And so she made me promise that if I was traveling, I wouldn't try to smuggle drugs. I didn't even use drugs, but I guess she thought that was advice I needed to have. So there's a concept called jurisdiction, right?
Okay.
And if you are located in a country then you are obligated to abide by their laws. And so, yeah, she's not a Thai citizen, but she was in Thailand at the time. And so they can prosecute her. Now, there can be some international legal principles that could get asserted by Mexico if they want to try to get her out. Like, you know, what's funny? Fun fact. One of the teachers at my son's school, her husband got caught up in Russia a couple of years ago with some marijuana in his pocket, and he ended up getting prosecuted and was doing time in Russia, and the president had to get him out. So the lesson for the algoriters is, if you go to another country, you need to understand their laws and not break them, because it can be hard for you.
Wow. All right, Sean. So what I'm hearing is there is a strong possibility that there could be criminal charges brought onto her regardless of jurisdiction.
Yes, but girlfriend, you ain't got nothing to worry about. One, you already back in Mexico now. All right. So let's say they bring the criminal charges. The only way for that to work is that Mexico would have to extradite you. And here's the thing about it is, I'm not sure Mexico and Thailand are all that tight, right? I'm not sure they all like this. But even if they are, here's the thing about extradition that's interesting, is that the country that is asked to return you, this has to be something that's illegal for them as well. They're not going to return you for some crazy law that only you have. And chances are excellent, Mexico laws probably are very close to ours. And in America, you can't go to jail for talking trash about somebody, thankfully. All right, we all be serving life right now.
We all be serving life, right? All right.
This show in particular, we would all be in jail. Let's be clear.
Are we really talking junk, or are we talking facts and law?
I'm going to talk some junk a little bit, because we got some other cases. Trust me, I'm talking junk.
But
all right, Tierra Sardine says, oh my God, first off, it's my birthday. And secondly, I couldn't sleep. Finally caught alive after 3 months living in Spain. What's up, Tierra Sardine? I am actually in Italy, so we're on the same side. We miss you too. Caramel 1977 Cancer says, this was all a scam that Todd set up. Uh-oh. Ooh, what happened? All right, Prince Land 11 says, happy birthday. South of France here. All right, we're close. I am in the North Italy. And Essa Stone said, happy birthday, Tierra. Who is Tierra? I'm so confused.
Right there, Tierra Sardine.
She said it was her birthday. Yeah, Tierra said it was her birthday.
Okay. Happy birthday, Tierra. All right, well, this is going to be interesting to watch out. Now, let me ask the people. Let's go to the algoriters and ask you guys some questions. Is this just two pageant aunties fighting over who gets better lighting? That's what I need to know, because this sounds kind of weird. Or did Nawat file a criminal complaint, and his complaint should be taken seriously? Algorithm, drop down in the chat. Do you think this is just a spat between two aunties, or do you think that Watt has a criminal complaint here because she hurt his feelings? Drop down in the chat. I want to know your thoughts. And in this course room, guess what? We don't allow egos lawsuits, because in court of public opinion, your court is secure, your crown is secure, and you don't need the cops to defend your confidence. All right, let's move on. Since we're already talking about pageant politics, I wanted to jump into the other Miss Universe scandal, where it's not just egos getting checked, it's bank accounts. Yep, you heard me correctly. Raúl Rocha bank accounts have been frozen. The beauty pageant is big money, but in his case, that big money has become big trouble. That's right. Miss Universe co-owner Raúl Rocha had all of his bank accounts frozen in Mexico after authorities launched an investigation into drug trafficking, arms trafficking, as well as fuel trafficking. This is going to be interesting. When the cops freeze your money, you're not at an interview competition anymore. You're actually heading what? Straight to jail. All right, let's go to you, Attorney Turner. What does it legally mean for a government to freeze your assets, and what level of suspicion is required in this case for them to take such an action?
Well, as long as your assets are frozen, it means for all practical purposes, you are broke because you don't have any cash. So that's what that means. And I think it's ironic, actually, that the Miss Universe pageant used to be owned and operated by our president. And who thought that it would be embroiled in even more scandal than it was 10 years ago? So, I mean, you have two of their owners that are under warrants, right? You have all of this controversy involving their reigning queen, right? And that started before she even won the pageant. And so it makes you wonder what exactly is going on with the Miss Universe pageant. It's like it was supposed to be about beauty and now it's turned ugly.
That's real. Attorney Carter, if the bank accounts are frozen, does that mean Miss Universe, the organization, could also be in trouble in some way?
Not likely. They've frozen his personal funds and the companies that he owns almost entirely. He doesn't own all of Miss Universe. He's just, one of the people there. So unless they've been all keeping their money together, right, in a piggy bank somewhere, the Miss Universe funds are not going to be stolen. They still can go out and fight with people in Thailand all they want. They'll be fine. The thing that to me was interesting, also, unless those funds were used in the crimes. Now, the funny part is you mentioned fuel trafficking. I had to look that up. I didn't even know what that was because in the U.S., we don't really have fuel trafficking. I remember in the 70s, and by the way, you got to be grown to remember this, but we had a gas shortage, and you'd have to siphon a little gas to get to work. All right, you had to go to your neighbor's house with a little straw and kind of, siphon some of the stuff out. We haven't had to do that in a long time. But in Russia, but in Mexico, they do that like every hour. And they don't just do a little bit. All right. It turns out that they will go to the Mexican, fuel reserve, and the cartels will steal thousands and millions of gallons at a time with big trucks. And then, now remember, they got all this gas, but they don't want to go sell it on door to door, right? So then they have to find big companies to launder the gas through, right? Sell it back to gas companies, sell it to fuel companies, to truck companies. And guess who owns truck companies and shipping and all that stuff? Our boy, Miss America, right? And so as a result, it turns out that they're saying, you're not out there stealing the gas, but what you are doing is you're the guy who buys the gas, the stolen gas from them.
Right? Got it. Okay. So
right. You use them in your trucks, you use them in all your businesses, etc. But they couldn't possibly, the cartels can't sell this gas, right? Like I said, one person at a time. So they need big time businesses to help them out with this. And apparently this is a big thing. I didn't even know it was a thing, but it's like right up there with drug trafficking and selling bootleg. You know what? Black people are going to relate this. It's like bootleg DVDs, all right, in front of the gas station.
Got it. Let me ask you this then. So he has access to no money that has an account on it with his name?
Correct.
So what does he do in this case? Does he go to the courts and ask for, money to live off of? Do they give him a little bit, or he's just stuck like Chuck?
When you're that rich, you don't need money. You can sign your name.
Got it.
Right? He goes to a hotel. They're not going to be like, oh my God, give us a swipe a credit card. He owns a hotel. But he can stay somewhere.
All right, okay. This is interesting. So he's got to handle this though. This is
he got to handle it.
Do basic things like eat, figure that out with friends and his connections, but he can't roll like he used to roll, right? Like when you're used to having that kind of money and your assets are frozen, you do have a problem. He doesn't have our kind of problems. Like we would all like to have our assets frozen and to be rich like that. But I think it's interesting because everybody knows that cartels and corruption go together like peanut butter and jelly. And so I think it'll be very interesting for him to try to explain like his involvement in this. And so I think he might have a lower profile with the Miss Universe organization, but that's probably the least of his problems because he's really wanting to stay out of prison. But
got it. All right, let's go to some of these chats here. And Annie 82, is that right? Annie 82, love from Freeport, Bahamas. All right, great. Glad you joined us. Sandra McGee says, Al, your glasses are fire. Thank you so much. Essa Stone and I am hurt 423 said the aunties are fussing in the last case. Who else said the aunties are fussing? Rizlan 11 said spat and ego. Brenda K said aunties gone mad. Yep, that's what it seems like to me. That just seems so interesting. I think he was more embarrassed than anything else, right? What else? Let's see. And Brenda K, funds aren't frozen until they found significant evidence of criminal activity. He probably has some cash in a pillowcase. I'm pretty sure he's probably got cash if he's a part of the cartel, allegedly. All right, everybody, I hope you're enjoying the show so far. Please hit that like button. If you've already hit the like button, be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, be sure to hit the share button. Invite some friends over to enjoy the show. Don't forget to turn on your notification. And as always, we love it when Colette and Brenda and Rizlan jump down in that chat. All right, let's keep it moving here. Speaking of police, let's go to the case where the law says you will be served, even if the defendant won't what? Open the door. Yes, you heard me correctly. This is the law case between Clayton Howard versus Cassie. Yes, Cassie Ventura from the P. Diddy case. Now, this is sex trafficking allegations and alternative service drama that Clayton said he's taken straight to the judge. Now, Clayton Howard claims that Cassie sex trafficked him, gave him chlamydia, coerced him, and psychologically manipulated him. Now, the judge says Cassie has been invading the service, and that is a fact. So the court approved what's called an alternative service. Now, alternative service means that if she doesn't accept these papers in the upcoming days, the papers will accept her. All right, Sean Carter. Let's go to bailiff. Show us what we got.
So good morning. I am Dave, the man who has just sued Cassandra Ventura for damages involved in the Sean Combs sex trafficking trial. And I'm looking through social media and I see a lot of the women out there, particularly black women like myself, who choose to victim shame me and try to do everything they can to discredit me, because the truth is that the loss of the Sean Combs trial was a loss to the Me Too movement and to hating women like the women who are trying to insult me. So let me tell you something, you women out there who would like to insult me. This is my story. I was paid by Cassie, Cassandra Ventura, for 8 years to be her male provider. I didn't have to be the best looking guy. I was the best in bed.
So, Sean, I got to jump into this right here. I love how he said service provider, not not male, you know what, not slinger of the ringer. None of that, but the male provider, baby. He knows somebody has coached him through this. Sean, does he have a case here? Like, I really want to know. I mean, is the fact that the judge says that he can use alternative methods to serve her, does that give indication to the depth of his lawsuit, or is this all process?
You got it right. You said the word, it's process. It literally called a process server, right? It basically says, judge says, hey, look, before I can even evaluate whether I give you money because you slept with this beautiful woman, I'm not even going to talk about that stupid stuff now. Let's just get the lawsuit together. And Cassie, to her credit, right, she been in there, dancing like Diddy, right, in that documentary, all over the place, avoiding service. So every time he tried to come service, like, I don't hear, I know speak no English, right? Just, all kinds of nonsense. So much so the court said, look, from now on, all right, alternative service means not only can I give the papers to your lawyers, we can send them to you by email, all right? We can send them to your AOL account. We can put it on social media, post it on the gram, which he just did, all right? We can put it in the newspaper, all right? Basically, we can send it to you smoke signals, all right? However, we need to get this information to you because you won't pick up the phone. And so this is just a way to get the lawsuit going. And then we can get into the fact of whether, look at that woman, all right? I don't know how to tell you this, but I've gotten an STD with woman not nearly as good as that. And I had to pay for it. So don't act like you, your brother.
In the court, what is going on here?
Hypothetically.
Let's go to you, Attorney Turner. Let's clean this up a little bit. What does someone risk by allegedly evading service? That's what I want to know, because just hearing it from a court of public opinion, it seems like if you're evading it, that means you're hiding something. So is it fair to assess that this may hurt her defense later?
Well, you have to think of it this way. Is there any obligation that someone cooperate with the process server? That's really the question. And so under these circumstances, the answer is no. I mean, she could say she was evading this person for any number of reasons. Evading is actually a legal conclusion. What she was doing was avoiding connecting with someone who was looking for her, right? Anybody can do that. So yeah, but you got to be creative. For example, if you were trying to serve the paramour who was involved with your estranged husband and her doorman refused to accept process, you might choose to serve her at work. So it does happen that people engage in creative serving things in order to ensure that somebody is properly served so that the legal process can continue. And so this is not unusual that somebody might try to shirk a process server because they just don't want to be bothered. And in fact, it happens all the time. Attorney Carter.
All right, but you know what? Let me ask you this though, Attorney Turner, and Attorney Carter, you can chime in here. These are like some pretty serious allegations. Like the words that he's using are quite crafted quite well. I mean, he's using words like sex trafficking because obviously he's learned, or we've all been taught during this case, that if you're being flown out to get some ping, then that's technically sex trafficking. And he's been doing it for 8 years. And even though he's ugly, she was really into his ping. She described it as damn near perfect. And he also said, this is what gets me with him. He knows the 3 words, in my opinion, to give this some type of gravitas: sex trafficking, coercion, and disease transmission. Like that really gives what would, in most cases, be a baseless claim, making it very, very good claim. No, Attorney Carter?
He got the words right. And Dorian, he's got a lawyer. He's got a case that he's trying to bring because, quite frankly, Cassie got $30 million now and he wants some of it. All right. Yeah. Totally got it. All right. I think getting her was more than enough payment, but that's beside the point. All right. Here's what he had to prove for force and fraud. He had to prove that not only, did she just want him, but that he didn't want to do it. That he going to get it to a jury and say, look at that beautiful woman. I didn't want no part of that. They made me. And every time I got perfectly, what would be the word for it? Excited with this woman because I didn't want to. For a man, it's harder to prove force and fraud and coercion because you kind of have to be cooperating a little bit, right?
Got it.
Secondly, interstate transportation for commercial sex, that subtract sex trafficking. And here's the thing about it is that is a real thing, and it works. It's a crime. And Diddy's in jail for that as well. That's the worst part is Diddy's in jail for bringing him out, and he is suing her. All right, strange, right? Right. That he was one who was being sex trafficked, but when you're a grown man, right, with a do-rag and a beard, it's hard to argue that you're not really on the sex traffic milk carton. All right, and then lastly. You're not, right? We're not looking for you, all right? If you come up missing, if we put this brother on the milk carton and say he missing from sex trafficking, we ain't going looking for him, all right? And then the third thing here that he has a problem is that he's going to say the transmission of an STD.
Okay,
that's only illegal if the person knows they have an STD and then knowingly transmit it to you.
Well, they knew they had.
Think about it. Everybody be in jail for accidentally giving somebody a little BD, right? and so the whole thing is.
Hold up. Order in the court. You can't go around here slinging it and giving people STDs, counselor.
If you know you have it. But think about it.
She clearly knew she had an STD. Remember, she talked about how the roof of her mouth was just like sores galore. She knew that something was going around. She had incredible, like more than 10 or 20 plus UTIs. Like, come on, she knew something that cooch wasn't working right.
Yeah, but UTIs are not necessarily indicative of STDs. I think Attorney Carter's onto a really good point. Like, when did she know that she had chlamydia? Did she know? And did she continue to have sex with him and he didn't know? You know what I mean?
Hold on, Attorney Turner. Attorney Turner, are you saying to me having sex with 6 to 8 different men for weeks on end, years after year, with some being protected, some not being protected, being peed on in your mouth, like that you would not be exposed to some type of STD, and he's been with her for 8 years? I think the first thing that I would do is I would go to her medical records and I would find out in the 8 years that we were together if she tested positive for some type of sexually transmitted disease.
So here's what I would say. I would say the only thing that's credible, definitely, that came out of his mouth is that he is ugly, right? And that, she could have only wanted him for his penis because it wasn't for his face. What's that song from back in the day?
Oh my goodness, you guys are horrible. Order in the court.
But I'm just using his words. But the thing is that it goes the other way too.
Okay.
If you are a paid sex worker, what controls are you taking to ensure that you don't catch an STD? For all we know, she got it from him, right? Like he knew what was down. Yeah.
I think she probably got it for one of those Facebook posts where she called one of the boys in from the Facebook post or from that sex site, Cowboys and Indians or something. all the people that they would see. I'm just saying, just out of numbers of having sex and the type of sex that they were having, drug infested and fueled, there had to be plenty of opportunities of different sex workers that they hired that exposed them to a sexually transmitted disease. All right, I get it. All right, let's go to some of these comments in the chat. All right, Brenda K says, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. She can't have it both ways. His face may not be beautiful, but apparently that thing must have been darn pretty and sweet. I agree with you, Brenda K. 8 years, he was probably one of the longest standing sex workers that they had. Okay, OJ Early. Okay, OJ Early says she has herpes. Okay. Colette Davis says he has said on interviews that he didn't feel like he was being sex trafficked. He didn't feel it until she got that $30 million, I'm sure. Caramel 1977 Cancer said, I love me some attorney Sean Carter. Christine R., we saw your message earlier. Where is Jason? Jason is not feeling his best today, so we had to let him leave court early. Rizlan 11 says, or collect his babies in a cup. Ooh. She says also, Rizlan says, but it's okay to force on someone with periods on. Ooh, you're right. That's right. I remember that. That was nasty. Nasty. Charlene Lambert says, really? Gold digging at its finest. Well, but some people say they're both gold digging. I mean, I can't imagine that she didn't. Let's see. P. Monsell Singer says, I remember him saying he showed Diddy and Cassie paperwork that he was STD clean. All right. Caramel 1977 says workers' comp. Criminality Online says, really, Al, long-standing. I'm just saying. Nietzsche Phillips says, hey, family, I just woke up. I fell asleep. Didn't know. I was wondering where you were, Nietzsche. So glad you jumped back in here and joining us. All right.
Your Honor, you missed the I Am Her 423 comment. That was the song I was thinking of. I think it's by Luke. It must be your past because it ain't his face.
I don't know why Baylor put his picture back up. I really don't think he's not that.
No, he's fine there.
Oh, he doesn't look like that now. That's not what he looked like in that video with that do-rag. Like, I'm not even sure what the do-rag was about. Did he think looking broke down was going to advance his cause? I'm not even sure about that. But
all right, let's ask the algorithms. Algorithms, if Cassie is avoiding this service, does that make it seem like she is avoiding the truth? Algorithms, jump down in the chat. If Cassie is avoiding this service, does it mean that she's avoiding the lawsuit or is she avoiding the truth? I guess that's the question I want to ask. If she is hiding and avoiding the service, does that mean she's avoiding the lawsuit or avoiding the truth? It gives me a little avoiding both. That's what it gives me. Huh?
Says he looks like Attorney Ross.
Christine R said that. Ooh. Shatara, I'm gonna tell Attorney Ross that you laughed at. All right, Christine R. SL Warriors started laughing at Christine R. That's hilarious. All right, let's keep it moving, everybody. All right, in this courtroom, like I said, this has a lot of perception to it. And Cassie, just like you, people say that you are going after the money. Now that you got a whole lot of money, make sure you target as well. I mean, that's just what life is in entertainment business nowadays. It's what it seems. All right, now from lawsuits to lockups, let's slide over to a rapper whose traffic stop turned into a whole felony case. Yep, you heard me right. Erica Banks was arrested. This was a traffic stop that turned into a felony drop. You heard me right, everybody. I don't know who listens to it, but rapper Erica Banks was arrested and charged with 2 crimes. Possession of a Schedule I and or Schedule II substance, and also charged with the intent to distribute. Now, during a traffic stop in Decatur County, this is not a misdemeanor. This is a young mug shot situation. This is a your mugshot might trend situation and a big deal. Attorney Carter, go back and explain to me why and how a traffic stop could turn into a possession of a Schedule 1 or 2 substance with the intent to distribute. Does it have something to do with the amount that she was caught with?
Absolutely. And let's just be clear how even this happens. She and her friend, I'm gonna call them or them Pat. I can't figure it out if you show the friend, but they're driving down the road and they're driving, and Erica's is chilling in the passenger seat. They get pulled over, not for tinted windows, for tinted license plate. All right. I don't even know why you would tint your license plate. Your license plate, what it gets caught in the sun. But anyway, they pull over and then find out the car is stolen. Because remember, Erica can't never have nothing that's not
stolen.
Yeah, the car is stolen. She can't never have nothing not stolen. Remember the stolen gun we found in her purse at TSA a few months ago? If she got it, it's stolen, right? And so they say, hey, you got to get out the car. They get out the car and start searching them. The other person, the driver's got a bunch of weed, and Erica's got a number of these ecstasy pills. Now they don't say
on her
person, in her purse. You know, she keep everything in the purse, the stolen guns and ecstasy pills, right? The thing is this, though, you asked a good question. What is intent to distribute? And that is not really like 17 pills. You know, sometimes there's a weight limit, etc. But basically they go on vibes in a sense, right? They say basically, do you have enough that you could sell this, or does it look like you're trying to sell it? So sometimes they'll do it by the packaging. If you have your pills in, you know, little designer boxes that say, you know, Al's X, then they think you're trying to distribute, right? If you just had it in your purse, you know, loose, then obviously no one's going to be buying stuff out of your purse, right? So sometimes they go by vibes of, do you look like you're trying to sell it? But over a certain weight limit, over a certain number, then you have that. And we don't know what her number was. We don't know if she had 6 pills or 600. I'm guessing it's probably around 6 because you can't steal 600, and she don't have nothing that's not stolen.
Wow, this is insane. Before we keep talking about this, let me give a shout out to Jessica Brooks, 1431. Jessica Brooks, thank you so much. I apologize for running through this earlier, but thank you so much, Jessica Brooks, 1430, for the super chat. Jessica Brooks says, let's keep the band together. I know this is a fun crowd. These two lawyers are really making this very fun tonight. Thank you so much, Jessica Brooks. As always, your support is greatly appreciated by me as well as our legal beagles. All right, SL Warrior said they're riding dirty. Hey, I guess you're right. Rizlan 11 says that's her fiance with her. So Mela, put that picture back up. Is it a he or she, or what's her or his pronoun? Anybody know? Drop down in the chat. I really want to know. Tiara, another story about a not so intelligent rapper. I'm flabbergasted. Oh, Brenda O, shame on you. All right, Tiara Sardine says, child, she had that gun last time. Now car sis, come on. All right, so let me ask this question then. How serious is this, Attorney Turner? How serious is this, and what penalties for felony possession with intent to distribute are there in Georgia? What does their time look like possibly?
It's serious. The penalties for possession with intent to distribute are a function of the amount, like Attorney Carter mentioned, and then the other evidence that's present to suggest that you're trying to distribute. So it's an increasing scale. For this one, I don't recall exactly how much time she would be facing, but it goes from, I think, under a year to even more. But
30,
yeah.
30
years.
30 years? Okay, so I think I saw down in the chat here somewhere. Let me see who said this. I think it was Colette Davis may have said it. Does it really depend on the packaging? So what's the lesson here for algorithms? You can't just be carrying large sums of drugs in your purse. What do you say, Attorney Turner?
There's some de facto evidence, as Attorney Carter was suggesting, which is if you have a certain amount, it is presumed that your intent was to sell it, because why would you have that much drugs? The other evidence that Attorney Carter was saying is that under the totality of the circumstances, what does the what does the drugs itself that you have in your possession, what does it indicate that you want to do? And so if I have like a cute little purse with the personalized pills, like Attorney Carter was suggesting, and they're embossed with my initials where I'm trying to show that they are my pills so that I can get brand recognition, like I'm treating it like it's Bayer aspirin, right? Then all of a sudden it's suggestive of an intent to distribute, even if the amount is less. And so you have to look at the totality of the circumstances to see whether or not the charges are going to stick.
Right. I'm with Nisha Phillips, though. You can't be riding in a stolen car on dirty side with drugs. And that, she just says, like Nisha Phillips says, that's just dirty work. And not to mention, it's her second arrest in 1 year. Meaning she's not unlucky. She's unlearning. All right, everybody, this is the part of the show where we go to the verdict, which is the jury of the people. All right, first up, we have, all right, jury members, algoritmers, jump down in the chat right here, right now. First up, we have Nawat versus Fátima. The two aunties are going at it. Is this A, real criminal case, B, a jealous pageant rival, or C, a PR tantrum? Attorney Carter, what say you?
This is a PR tantrum, brother. Nawat, you got to find something better to do with your time. And get by the way, get a better wig too. You look ridiculous.
All right, Attorney Turner.
It is a PR scandal, and we can rest assured that Mexico is not going to extradite their current reigning Miss
Universe
and send her back to Thailand so that she can face these charges. Ain't gonna
All
happen.
right, I'm Al Reynolds, and I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, and I'm going to say it's a pageant robbery. The way he was trying to embarrass her was he was mad that she looked better than him. That was a pageant robbery. He needs to give it up with that toupee. It ain't like that no more. You're too old for the light, baby. Next up, Raúl Rocha. Is he, algorithms jump down in the chat, is Raúl A, innocent, B, investigated, or C, in deeper trouble than a pageant spray tan? Attorney Turner, what say you?
I think he's in deeper trouble than a pageant spray tan. But then again, things are different in Mexico. People who you think would be going to prison, they don't.
That's so true. All right, Attorney Carter, what say you? Is it innocent, investigated, or trouble deeper than a pageant spray tan?
Speaking of spray pans, he about to be the next president of Mexico. Remember, this is how our president started, right? Looking at little young women in the Miss Universe, got a couple felonies, and then he got promoted. Keep it up, Raúl. You about to be president.
All right, I'm Al Reynolds, and I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. I'm going to say, is trouble deeper than a pageant spray tan right here? Next up, Cassie lawsuit, and this is juicy. Is this a real claim, a revenge suit, or chasing the bag, or a drama with no winners? Attorney Carter, what say you?
This is a brother who need to be. I don't know what's wrong with you, brother. You got to sleep with that woman. You should just be grateful.
Attorney Turner, help us out here. Is this real claim, a revenge suit, or a drama with no winners?
I think they're real claims, but he's chasing the bag. He wants what she has, and he's coming for it.
All right, I'm Al Reynolds, and I'm the judge here, so let's go to public opinion. And I say, I'm on. This is a revenge suit. He wants to pay me for his pain for having to sleep with that freak. That's what this is. This is a revenge suit. Pay me for his pain. You got money. I should get some too, right? That's last but not least, Erica Banks. Is she targeted, trouble prone, or throwing away the bag? Attorney Turner, what say you?
She is trouble prone. She's in trouble. Not sure how long she might go away for, but I do know that the pronouns of her fiance will not be a factor in whether or not she goes to jail.
All right, Attorney Carter, we're going to skip you tonight, and I'm Al, and I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court, and we're going to say she is trouble prone. Algorithms, drop down in the chat and let us know what your verdict is. All right, everybody, tonight we saw crowns, crime, confrontation, corruption, and consequences. But in this courtroom, celebrities don't get the final word, but you, the algorithm, does. Be sure to drop down in the chat and tell us who's guilty and who's not guilty, who's chasing the bag, and who just needs some PR. I'm Judge Al Reynolds, and this is Court of Public Opinion is presently adjourned. Thank you for joining us tonight, everybody.